talk about that. So let's listen. All right, guys, we're going to move on to part 2. Let us know what you think about this one as well.
I am Helena. I'm 23 years old. When I was about 15, I started using Tumblr. I had an eating disorder since I was pretty young. There's a lot of messages that said, if you feel bad about your body, that means you're trans. I was just going through this period of like, I don't like how I'm treated as a cis person. I don't want to be cis because cis means you're uncool and you're privileged and you're an oppressor and you're bad, and I don't want to be that. In that way, I was really incentivized to try to figure out a way to make my voice heard in these communities. And obviously I can't change my race. I can't really change my sexuality. So the only thing left was to start playing around with the gender stuff. So I decided to call myself a demi-girl, which is one of the 40 million genders. And that basically means that I'm mostly a girl, but I'm a little bit not a girl, which is just like, what does that even mean? And then after that, I went to demi-boy. And then after that, I went to gender fluid. And after that, I eventually went to trans boy. But all this took like 2 or 3 years of just going through this repetitive cycle of changing this identity and changing it again. And it was just never enough. There was a lot of hopelessness for a long time, a lot of regret. The feeling of regret was intense.
It's a moving interview, and there's a lot more of it in the episode. Helena joins us on set now. Helena, thanks so much for coming on. There's something so sad about that. First of all, thank you for speaking up, because your voice does matter, I think, in this conversation. But you felt what every young woman I've ever met felt at a certain age, which is uncomfortable with yourself. And it feels like you were exploited at that moment of weakness.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, it's completely normal for not only young girls, but often young boys too, to feel uncomfortable with themselves, uncomfortable with their body. But we have this ideology that is especially prevalent online that says that if you have those feelings, that means you're trans. I mean, there are literally people who say, if you don't even like your voice on a recording, that's a sign of gender dysphoria, and you need to go see a medical professional because you're trans.
Wow.
Talk about taking advantage of people. So how do you, and this is all explained in greater depth in the documentary, but how do you feel now at 23 looking back on what happened?
I feel honestly grateful for the experience because it's taught me a lot about the world and about myself, but I really feel afraid for these other young girls like myself who they might not be. You know, I consider myself lucky that I was able to get out of it unscarred really medically, but there's so many young people who can't say the same. And psychologically as well. I mean, it's just devastating to, especially from a young age, be lied to by adults at school and by medical professionals and told that your body is wrong, you need to change it, you need to get hormones, you need to get surgeries. That's devastating for a young person. So I'm just really concerned for younger girls and boys.
I just think it's wild how she said your body is wrong. Like medical professionals and adults, your body is wrong because of the way you feel right now. How can a feeling hold so much power and so much weight?
Yeah, to the point where it defies science.
Yes.
Like
defies
you're talking about scientific individuals with high level of education that are making decision for your life simply based on your emotion.
I wonder how many of these people have transgender children or children who they're doing this stuff to.
I agree. But I can also follow the money. Because you always know the love of money is the root of all kind of evil. Because we know ultimately they can, in their hearts of heart, they know this is nonsense.
Which is terrible. I mean, the consequences that, the judgment that people are going to face, and even if they come out of it, the guilt.
The guilt.
I mean, God can release us from any guilt. But those doctors, those nurses, those people who are performing these medical treatments are... It's really sad because, you know, we feel we're human and you're going to feel. And if you don't feel now, you'll eventually feel regardless. It won't be optional one day. But wow.
Yeah. Do you guys hear us clearly? Let us know. Okay. Let us know if you're hearing this and you're following us along. All right, let's continue this. Man, this is so disturbing.
Yeah, did anyone? I think so. Is that just you?
Yeah, that was before. That's why I had to rewind it and stuff.
Oh, perfect. Give us the thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up. Yeah. Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Oh, good.
All right. Let's continue, guys.
For a young person, so I'm just really concerned for younger girls and boys like I once was, being led down this path and being hurt by it.
It's a failure of male leadership, of adult leadership, and it does seem like some of the steps are medically irreversible.
Absolutely. I mean, there's all sorts of, you know, the White House actually just put out a chart yesterday that says that some of these steps are reversible or partially reversible, but that's such an oversimplification of the truth. I mean, when you go on a cross-sex hormone, like, that's going to give you not just physical changes, but psychological experiences that you can't just act like they never happened. You can't just take it back. And especially with surgeries, you know, a breast implant after a mastectomy is not the same thing as never having your breast taken off in the first place. So there's a lot of young women who are going through that, who had a double mastectomy at 16, 17, 18 years old, or even younger, that happens, who, you know, there's nothing you can really do to put that feeling of oneness and safety in your body back.
And not to think, if they want to have children, breastfeeding, you know, all these different things, for recreation of life, like for these are their reproductive organs.
Yeah.
So what does it look like their agenda is here when you are promoting the removal of reproductive organs?
Yeah.
Why are they doing this to this generation of young people?
That's crazy. And a lot of these people are going to wake up, you know. It's like right now they're going through their confusing phase, and they're getting affirmed and so on. Well, some of these people are waking up. It's like they're waking up from the ideology. It's like, oh, what in the world am I doing?
Yeah.
There's a ministry called Coming Out Ministry. I think it would be nice to watch them, because they're testimonies of people that are talking about this. And they're saying, I was once, and now I'm finding out, hey, I was just going through a confusing state in my life. Look what I did to myself. And they're ashamed. They're sharing their body. Look what I did. And it's just like, and now the medical science are looking at themselves like, oh man, maybe we overreacted. Yes, you did.
I don't even think they're looking at themselves like that. There might be some people.
Some of them are. Yeah.
Some of them, and some people who are brainwashed. But it's just sad, because this seems to be an agenda. I mean, I know you know that. That it's an agenda. That it's a plan. This is like Operation. Operation.
And again, this is an attack on, again, like I said, it's an attack on humanity. It's an attack on the family.
Because what kind of family units are going to come forth from this? From this generation of removing body parts. I don't have my identity. I don't know my identity. What type of family units are going to come out of
Well,
this?
that's the goal.
I know.
It's to deteriorate the family. That's the
so then
idea.
When they go in, the minds are going to be so weakened and dulled by emotions.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to be emotionally driven, and they're not going to be able to think for themselves and make educated decisions about their life, their children's lives, and the people around them, because they have fear, anxiety, and now dulling of the mind and promoting of, this is how we feel. Let's make decisions based on how we feel.
And when the feeling goes away, we have to look at reality in the face. I remember watching a video of trans parents trying to get their 8 and 9-year-old daughter to admit that she was trans. I heard that.
Wow.
That she felt and wanted to be a boy. And that looks on her face was one of confusion. If you can you send me those videos? We would certainly love to do a live stream of those videos. I'm compiling a number of them. Like literally in their home, they're doing this. I saw one with a little boy. She was trying to put the dress on the little boy. And he's like, I don't like wearing a dress.
Could you imagine trying to put a dress on baby James?
And he was crying like, they're going to make fun of me. He said, well, she's like, you like wearing a dress. The other day you were wearing one. Why don't you want to wear one anymore? She's like, I don't like that, mommy. He said, come on now, put on that dress. And I'm like,
so you see
the
this
problem?
Is what they're cultivating in these children's minds. And that's sad, because not only are they gonna, this child, even if this child starts to comply and starts to actually feed the lie, when they get older, the hatred they're gonna have towards their parents, the anger,
It's crazy. There's gonna be some serious lawsuits. There's gonna be a lot of premature deaths. There's gonna be a lot of psychological issues and mental health, suicidal. I can see it all coming because the bone density gonna get weaker. All these hormones are gonna have their effect, and I'm hearing there's a lot of mental issues that follows after taking these things. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have a generation of very.
You're playing with hormones. Hormones are a very vital part of our existence.
Yeah. Yes.
Without hormones, our body wouldn't be able to function in the way that it does.
No. So your emotions are gonna be all over the place, you know.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. I hope people are hearing you with open minds, with tolerance. Are they?
There's a lot of people out there, especially parents, who are really thankful for what I'm saying because they see that their young girl or their young boy is going through this, and the school is telling them, you need to affirm them, they're trans, you need to transition them. All their doctors are telling them, you need to transition them. And these parents, they know that their child should not be having these cosmetic procedures. So there's a lot of parents who are really thankful. There are other young people who are really thankful that I'm saying what I'm saying, but obviously, you know, you have the trans activists and the trans community that exhibits some very unhealthy kind of cult-like dynamics who are really upset about this.
Man, you are so articulate and thoughtful at 23. It's just,
I
it's
thought
remarkable.
the same thing.
People who have suffered like you have sometimes get deeper.
Yeah, you learn a lot. Like I said, I learned a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I felt the same way.
Hear
I thought
her full.
she was very. She's very. Go ahead and play that so if they want to hear the full
story and others of people like her who've been through this on Fox Nation in early May. It's one of a bunch of episodes we've been working on. Stay with us for more clips from season 2 of Tucker Carlson Originals.
There's a whole bunch of people like that coming out. They don't make news. They don't make the news. You have to dig for them.
She is very, I thought to myself as well, very articulate in how she's just presenting and having the conversation about this. I'm sure she had, like she said, I'm sure she's learned a lot
she had to.
Going through the process. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to have experienced something.
Yeah. Very, very true.
Wow.
All right. Well, we're going to make a transition here, guys, because we know part of the thing that is being discussed today is